Hello everybody, Boyd here with you and welcome back. We're back to work on our DeAgostini Ford GT build. Got some nice parts pack updates that came in and we're going to be taking you through today parts packs 28 through 37. Sounds like we got a lot of ground to cover here today, you guys, but it's not really that much. Just got some interior work going on. It looks like some of the wiring. I noticed a little speaker in here because I don't know if I mentioned this at the beginning of this build series. This car actually has some sound effects. I think actually when you step on the gas pedal on the inside of the interior, you get the engine revving sound, so that's really cool. We're going to be adding all that on today. This parts pack shipment came with this beautiful little, I'm not sure what scale this is, but this is the 1966 Le Mans winning car from the movie. If you guys saw Ford versus Ferrari, this is the car that won at the actual end of the film. That kind of controversial win by Bruce McLaren and Chris Amon. Ken Miles was driving the other Ford GT in the race and was basically dominating the race. And then with team orders, some team orders came down towards the end of the race, and they wanted to have a photo finish because the remaining Ford GTs in the race looked like they were going to finish 1, 2, 3. So they kind of lined the cars up, and they kind of made a little goof there, and Ken didn't line up, properly, kind of. Let the other cars line up kind of a little bit in front of him, and that cost him the race, and he had basically dominated the entire thing. If you watch the movie Ford versus Ferrari, you'll see the whole thing play out, but it's just a really interesting part of racing history. But this is a beautiful little model, and it'll be really nice on the display, saying it comes with a nice little base, kind of give you a different angled view of it, the back of it here. I'm not going to take it out of the box. I'm not sure if the hatches open up or anything like that, but really nice that you get these with the with your subscription to this particular model. I think we'll be getting a few more of these, and there might be a display case that comes for the overall car at the end. I'm not too sure about that. You have to check on their website to make sure. But let's get down to business here, you guys, and start working on the model again. I've got the usual suspects here for my tools. I've got a little bit of lithium grease, a couple small screwdrivers, my tweezers, and a pair of scissors to open up these bags. So let's go ahead and check out our first instruction booklet here. We typically see these beautiful photographs and information about racing history in these. As I mentioned several times in this build series, I'm going to be keeping all these in a nice binder at the end. This is some really cool stuff. It looks like these are the modern day reincarnations of the GT40s, the various manufacturers that are out there reproducing these. And even though they're not the originals, they're superior in many ways, with better safety, better brakes, better engine efficiency, and things like that. It's impossible to replace the original classics, but these are really, really cool cars. So let's take a look and see what we're doing here first. Looks like we got the brake and clutch and gas pedal assembly here. A switch plate cable. Some wire harnesses. And let's see, we're pulling out, looks like part of the... Okay, we're going to be working with the interior tub again. So let me grab that really quick and get that out. Got everything packed away here. And that's my handle on. So let's see where I put the big fella. Okay, so this little box here. Grab our interior tub back out. And here we go. We bring this big guy into the picture. You guys remember where we left off with this? We got the beautiful seat belts installed, the seats and all that. Did a little extra work on it here and there to bring up the detail on it. But let's take a look at what we're doing here with this. Okay. First step is insert cable 01 28E into the right recess in the switch housing on the central floor as shown. Okay, so we've got like a little actuator button, it looks like. Let me go ahead and locate that in our parts pack here. Bunch of screws. There's a little speaker I talked about. some kind of housing. We've got our steering wheel here. Looks like a functional steering wheel with some gears and a steering column shaft. Roll bar. I must be missing this part here. I'm looking for it. Here's the, okay, here we go. It's really small. Here's our little parts pack. Ooh, these are some really tiny screws this go around. Have to be careful not to lose those. Let's go ahead and get this guy out of the way for just a second. And take a look. These are the smallest screws I've seen yet. These are microscopic. FP05. Here's our little actuator switch that they're talking about. Actually, we've got two of them here. Okay, they want us to deal with 01. They're both numbered, it looks like. So, yep, just a little tiny momentary switch. And we're putting that into the driver's side here. It looks like on the right-hand side. This drops down in here, kind of like a little press fit. Okay. And all right, we're going with the second one over here. So I can only imagine one of them is for the sound of the gas pedal, and maybe the other one lights up the tail lights or something like that. We'll have to see. That'll be a ways down the road, you guys. Okay, both of those in place. And now they want you to put the switch plate over the top, which is this small little piece right here. Get my organization a little bit better here, you guys. Got our switch plate. Okay. Got our tiny little screws. And just looking to see which way this this little plate is oriented before we drop it down in. Okay, it looks like it goes like that. Okay, and I'm assuming we're going to be putting a screw in that. FP02. Okay, so we've got the 05 there. Let me locate those. Zero one. Okay, did I drop another bag out of here that I didn't notice? We got an 05, but I don't see an 02. Let me see. Those are 01. Here we go. There's 02. Have to get this second bag open here. We got some bright chrome plating on these parts, guys, and I definitely am going to dull these down. They wouldn't have really bright chrome plated parts like that, especially for the gas pedals and all that. I'm not sure what this part is. We'll have to figure that out. But a quick hit with the with my matte clear finish will make those look more like an aluminum. So we'll take care of that. Let's get these screws out of here. They want that 02. I got the 01 and the 02. Okay, we'll go ahead and get this one put down. A little dab of lithium grease as usual. Almost got it on the first try, but it just barely moved on me. There we go. All right, we've got that secured in place. Let's move along here to okay. Pass the cable 01 and 02 through the rectangular opening in the floor to the left of the switch housing. Okay, so we're going to be pulling these straight down through here. All right, got that complete. Fit the clutch and brake pedal rods 28C into place. On the gas pedal 28B, hold it in place and secure the underside with an FP05 screw. Okay, let's see what we're doing here. All right, got this. Figure out exactly what we got going on here. Okay, let's see. We've got this spring assembly that I saw a minute ago. Let me track that down, you guys. Here we go, right in front of me. Just so you guys know, I'm not rehearsing this ahead of time. So, like I said, I'm doing these live sort of so you can kind of get the same kind of feeling you'd get it with your first time looking at this stuff yourself on your bench if you're building this kit. So we're going to show the mistakes and all the guessing and the working of the instructions and all that stuff to try to figure this out. Okay, so we've got this little spring assembly here, and it looks like it goes a certain way down into the trying to figure this out, you guys. I believe I've got the part oriented in the right direction here. Okay, so it goes something like this, it looks like. Right? And then okay, then this part goes over top of that. Okay. just like so. I believe I've got that right, you guys. Okay, then we're putting a FP05, which is one of these really tiny guys. Gotta be really careful not to lose these. And hopefully my screwdriver was small enough for that. Let me check it out here. Barely. Okay. Okay, now we're putting this screw in this little outboard hole here, which is going to be easier said than done, I can tell you that, guys. It's going to be tiny. Oh, we actually got it. Awesome. Okay. So there's our little assembly. I'm going to set this aside as we speak right now, and I'll put some of my matte finish on that. Definitely want to take that down. They're way too bright chrome looking. Now let's see what we're looking at next. Okay, so we're going to be putting that, as you can see here, we're going to be putting that down into the floor. So I'll pause really quick and paint that. We'll come back and we'll resume with the rest of the build. Be right back. Okay, I've got my clutch, brake, and accelerator pedal assembly painted with some matte clear, and you can see the obvious difference that made. It made it much more aluminum looking, much more appropriate, I think. And now they're calling for us to bolt this down, screw this down in the floor. Let's see, using an FP01 screw. So let's see how this kind of lays in here. Looks like goes like this. Okay, and just kind of checking out to see how this will actually work. Not sure exactly, but let's screw it down in there and take a look at it after it's in place. Oops. I magnetized my screwdrivers, but they're still not doing the greatest. I actually need to get a set of magnetized screwdrivers that will be a little bit stronger. These just barely hold on. They cause me a lot of grief. Okay, so we got that down in there like that. Okay, let's just kind of check this out here. Okay, we've got everything installed there. I'm just curious about the, okay, it actually does its thing. Yep, you can hear the buttons actuating. So yeah, we've got the gas pedal on the right, which will probably make the engine revving sound, and then the brake. So I'm assuming the brake lights work. That'll be cool. Okay, so that completes that step. Let's go on to the next one. We're down to number 29 here. And just a quick thumb through the booklet here. See what they're talking about a little bit. And just some of the other Ford racing cars, the Ford G7. Ford had a lot of collaboration with McLaren along the way too. Okay, so looks like it's the steering column this time, you guys. Let's clear off our other stuff and get on over to that. This is the roll bar. Here's all the steering wheel stuff. Got our tiny little screws here, which are now going to be extras. Don't want to mix these up. Okay, so we're working with the steering wheel, steering shaft, and gear. Okay. I didn't cut back far enough. Okay, we got that stuff. And the shaft and the gear. Okay. Ooh, this is heavy. Oh, that's actually metal, I think. Yeah, it is. Really cool. Okay. Shaft is metal too. So is the pinion gear. So some nice quality going on here, you guys. Should be pretty durable over time. Okay, so we are first putting the pinion gear onto the shaft, it looks like. Kind of a press fit. And it presses on there very, very hard, that's for sure. Huh. That doesn't seem to go in there very deep. Might have a little issue here, you guys. And we're doing it the right way. It's slotted. It'll only go one way. And just looking at the picture, it looks like it's supposed to be completely bottomed out on that. This is going to take some force, you guys. They don't mention anything about having to use a lot of force on that or anything, but wow, it is really tough. Yeah, it's not going on there at all, you guys. I'm going to actually have to see if I can maybe tap it into place here. Let me see. I need something. Let me try something like this. And we're okay to do that. Okay, we're getting there. They definitely don't want that coming off, that's for sure. Okay, that looks pretty good. Figured that out. Didn't manage to bend anything, so we're good. Okay. Now they want the steering wheel to attach on the other end. And again, this is got a certain slot in it that it goes a certain way. Okay, yeah, I was going to say, I think we're going to be using a screw in that because it's just the opposite. It fits really loose. Okay, they're calling for an FD104 screw, so that's this one right here. There, it finally went tight. Okay, so you need some muscle for that step, you guys. Okay, and some patience. Okay, so we got past that. All right, now we're putting the decorative cap over the top of that. The little Ford emblem on there. Nice little finishing touch. Down on there nice and secure. That's just a press fit. And there you have it, you guys. It's beautiful. Really looks nice. Okay. Now we are dealing with the instrument panel. I'll have to locate that as well. Let's see, here we go. And okay, we've got this little bracket here. We're using FP01 screws. Okay, I think I've got that figured out. Here's our screws. Okay, we'll slide the big fella out of the way here. Calling for 2 of these. All right, and there's that, you guys. Looks like it moves freely and everything. That's all going to get connected down to our steering linkage underneath of the car, I'm sure, at some point. Okay. Still like the way how that dash turned out, too. All right. Okay, moving on. Now we're up to number 30. Let's see what we've got here. Some more Le Mans racing stuff. Okay, so the steering rack. All right. Tidy up a little bit in between rounds here. All right. Another metal part. These are plastic, but they're all very robust. Okay. Take a gander here. Okay, we're bringing the interior tub back in. And it looks like we've got this little cover that goes over the top of all this stuff. They're calling it the steering support. Okay, so I've been having a look at our little setup here with the steering system, and I just wanted to make a couple of notes to share with you guys. we're going to be putting the dashboard down on top like this, and then our little steering shaft here with the pinion gear is going to line up on this steering rack. We got a couple of brackets to put in here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get those. This one going down first, and you put that in there like that. This is a little bit tricky to reach down in there, but you got a couple of these FP01 screws that go down in there to hold this in place. So we're going to get that done. Okay. What I'm talking about here is something you want to pay attention to that they don't mention in the instructions, and it was just something I kind of observed when I was mocking all this up to take a peek at how it was going to go. And now we can lay the rack in here like so, and the battery box goes over the top of that, helps hold that in. And we've got another 01 screw going in here. Okay, make sure that that's free. Okay, now here's the step, guys. They're having you putting this dashboard in place. We got 4 of the 01 screws that hold it in place, and you're going to kind of manipulate this so that the when you're coming down at an angle like that, that the pinion gear engages on the rack. Well, here's the part that you want to make sure you're doing, paying attention, you guys, because you want to make sure that that rack is centered like that. On the when you lay the pinion here, you want to make sure it's equal on both ends, and at the same time that the spokes of the steering wheel are lined up properly. Okay, so that means, you know, kind of like this and one straight down. Otherwise, what's going to happen is your steering wheel is going to be off, and if you've got it like this, okay, the tire is going to be turned to the left. You know, you see what I mean? It has to be centered along with the steering wheel being lined up. So I'm going to try to eyeball this and come in at an angle like that. It says to turn the wheel back and forth a few times to kind of help it engage. I want to make sure my steering wheel is centered. Let's take a look at the rack. That looks pretty centered to me, you guys. Equal amount on both sides. Okay, the distance here, it looks like it's more off to this side, but it's actually not. Now we've got the 4 screws that hold the dash in on the bottom. More of these 01s. Try to do this with one hand is going to be fun. Something's not lined up right there. There we go. We're going to bypass the grease this time, you guys, and just go straight in there. Living dangerously. Okay. Last one. sure everything is down and secure. Steering rack works properly. Got some nice little tension on that too. It's not really floppy or loose or anything like that. Okay. And let's flip the page. All right, and we are done with that stage, you guys. So that came out great. Let me get my little towel here and clean up our little fingerprints. Got some fingerprints on top of our dash and a couple other spots. Okay. Just checking that again. How cool is that? Really neat. All right, so let's check out our next catalog. Ooh, Mustang GT, 1968. Here comes the Mustangs. Awesome. By the time they got to this year here, I really didn't care for them anymore. They started turning into big old boats. Okay, so we got a roll bar going in here, you guys, and it looks like this might be just a snap fit. Alright, that one goes there. This is pretty straightforward. Okay. Bracket and brace. Okay, so this goes right here. Snaps in place. And then our other bar. Goes like that. Okay, pretty primitive roll bar setup for back in the day. Not a whole lot of protection there, it doesn't look like, but hey, those guys were brave back then, as we can see by the design of this car overall. Okay. So we're moving through our parts packs pretty rapidly here, you guys, which I thought we would. Make sure we're not throwing anything away. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. And Phil Hill, the Quiet Champion. More Le Mans history. Okay, we've got these little parts right here. Some more electronic gizmos. Looks like a speaker and a... Yeah, I believe that's a speaker. Yep, really tiny speaker. And a wiring harness and a couple brackets. Don't want to clip the wire harness. More screws. Okay. They are calling this the battery box, which it looks like it holds a battery, which it's You can see there it's one of those weird type batteries. Hopefully they tell you exactly what kind of battery that takes. It's one of those weird cylinder small ones. Okay. The floor's lower right. Okay, let's see what we're talking about here. This is obviously on the bottom. Trying to orient this the same way. Looks like that, I believe. Okay. And then the wires facing forward, I believe. Okay. Got two nifty little tabs it sits on. FP01 screws again. We'll have a ton of those left over, you guys. I always save them, though. You never know. They come in handy. Okay. He's going from the top or the bottom? Oh, the bottom, it looks like. Okay, that step is finished. Now we're doing something with this speaker. Okay, just farther up ahead. There's the obvious spot for the speaker. Ooh. Okay, pop right out, will ya? Okay, let's see. They're not being too place the speaker into the corresponding circular space in the underside of the floor. Lift the battery box 32A to place the speaker bracket over it and secure with two FP01 screws. Okay. There's a slot in this speaker, and I just checking to make sure if there's a corresponding. Oh, I don't see one. So doesn't look like they're being too fussy about that. There's our little bracket. Couple of these FP01 screws, which we've got more than enough. All right. Now we've got this little battery box left over here. Looks like we're flipping around and coming back over here. Okay, that's the cover for that. two little press pins that go on here, just like that, so easy access to your battery later on. Stage complete. That was simple enough. Okay, let's check out our next step here. Number 33. Surprised we haven't had any carryovers yet, you guys. Sometimes they'll ship you these parts and they'll just say hang on to this one to the next installment. Right side frame braces. Okay. All right. Let me clean up a little bit here, and I've got more parts in this other box. Something heavy. Okay, let's see what we got here, you guys. Here's our frame braces. We'll do those first, I think. And here's more of them. Ooh, here's our circuit board. I was wondering when that was going to come in. Wire harnesses. And some kind of floor pan. But wow, this is a solid metal heavy part here, you guys. Let's deal with first things first here. Putting in these frame braces. We're going to turn this over, and it says the right side, so that would be this side here. (33A) and (33B) are our parts. These are symmetrical or not. Looks like they are, so we'll just start off with this one. FP02 screw this time. All right, let's take a closer look. Retrieve the chassis structure completed in the previous installment. Place the right side frame brace R33B in place on the underside of the floor. This frame brace has a slightly different shape at one end, as shown in the up-close photo, and is marked with an R. Okay, so it's this one. All right, everybody, we're picking up where we left off here. Apologies, the battery in the camera died. What can I say? It's YouTube, guys, and not Universal Studios here, but the part that little spot that we missed here was putting in these frame braces here. Pretty straightforward. You've got these little FP01 screws that we're using here. One screw in each brace, and they just go along in these little slots on each side. So I've saved this last one here. It's got a little pin that it sits in right there, and then a screw that goes on the other side. So just like that, we set that down in there. We're using the small screwdriver again. And we're getting close to the end here of these parts for this go around, you guys. Thanks for sitting all the way through on this. We worked our way through a couple little issues there and figured everything out. Okay. So, okay, moving on to instruction sheet number 34. I took a little peek ahead here, and it looks like we're putting in a whole bunch of wires, but there's the great Ken Miles right there. Pretty cool. A whole bunch of historical information in these books, guys. Definitely a treasure trove. I'll be reading through through every page some point in the future after we collect all of them. So now we've got a circuit board. Ooh, that's the heart of the system here. And let's get this open and have a look at that. A switch, some screws, a bracket, and some more screws. Okay, so we'll have to handle this circuit board with care here. Looks like it just pops out of this little blister pack. Like so. Here's a good look at the little board. Okay, so we're installing that over here next to the speaker. Got some wires. We'll get out of the way here. Okay, just like that. Looks like it's got two little screw holes just for it. Okay. Bug Zapper took care of one of our little friends in the background. Okay. And FP01 screws, our old standbys. Definitely want to make sure we don't over tighten these. The circuit board will crack if we do that. Right. And it looks like we're going to be plugging in a bunch of wires here and running some wires throughout the chassis, you guys, after this. That can only go in one way if you have the screws lined up, guys, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay. Now we've got a bracket and a switch. They want you to pull these wires up through. Like so. There's two little tabs on this switch, and they have to go through the center part just like that. Okay. And let's look and see where they want us to locate that. It's going in the driver's compartment right up in here. Okay. Perfect little slot for it to sit in. Now they're calling for the FP02 screws for that. Okay, our switch is moving freely underneath. So you'll have to open the door, reach inside to turn on the power. Once this is all finished up. Nice little clever idea. freely. Okay. All right. We've secured the switch. Now you are going to start attaching connectors on the printed circuit board. Connections 34A. The first is the speaker cable labeled 04. Locate it, pass it under the right side frame rail braces, and insert it into the socket marked SPK4. Okay. Well, we don't have very far to go with that. It's right there. So we're going to plug this in. Looks like it only will go one way. Turn it around. You can see the little tabs on the side of the connector and how they line up with the socket. At least that's what I'm assuming here. Huh, they look a little off no matter which way I turn it. There, I think that's the way. Let's get it to pop down on there. Okay. Now we're going to need a little bit of tweezer action here. I've got this wire. It's just kind of hanging out there, so they want you to stuff that back in underneath the frame rail there so it's hidden. We don't want it to touch the speaker diaphragm or it'll make it sound distorted. Okay. And next we're talking about the battery cable 03. Like the previous cable, pass it under the right side frame braces and insert it into the socket labeled battery 3. Okay. That's just one in the upper corner here. Careful putting these in, guys. Get it nice and straight and all that before you try to push it down. Oh, I had it and it popped back out. I want to make sure I'm putting this in the right way. Let me see. Kind of hard to tell, you guys. Definitely turns around like that. You got to kind of look at the pins and see where they are inside the little socket. There we go. Go ahead and move these back a little bit. They don't give you any specific routing or anything on the wire, just get it pushed back out of the way there. Kind of hidden. Okay. Now we're looking at cables that are in this separate bag here, so they're calling for number 5. Oh, maybe it's one of these. Yep, okay. It's the one from the switch. And we're bringing that back straight through these frame rails. Of course, our wires that we put in the last go around are interfering with that. Okay, number 5, join the party here. Okay. And we're connecting that one onto BTSW5. I'm assuming the SW is for switch. Okay, that's this one right here. Now we're getting the hang of it, you guys, for how these pins go and everything. Okay, push this back. Get these all nice and tucked inboard there. Don't want to see those unsightly wires drooping down underneath of the car when it's done. Okay. And moving right along. Okay, it looks like we're at the end of this one. So I'm assuming the last booklet here, or the second to the last, is going to be putting in the rest of these cables. We're at 35. Quick thumb through the catalog here. Ooh, the Cougar. Very cool. European version of the Ford Fiesta. The last Australian Falcon XR8. Wow, long history that had. All the way back to the Mad Max Falcon. Very cool. Okay, so now we're continuing on with some more wires. We've got cable 6. This remaining one that's already on the car is number 1 and number 2. Kind of remember that. So all right, we've got a 6. Okay, 06. It's a nice long one here. We're going from FRW1 on the circuit board which is this guy right here. Just checking my connector again. And we are routing that nowhere for the moment. Number 7 to the corresponding socket here, marked number 7. Okay, flip the script, and 8 into 8. Okay, we've got 1 left, and that must be something for something in the future. Okay, so we just, that was easy enough. We worked our way through that one, just plugging in some cables. Let's see if we're routing them in number 36 here. Oh, the return of the Ford GT to Le Mans. They had quite a successful run there when they came back. Okay, so this part showed putting in the right-hand side chassis braces, and then we did the left side. That's the little part we missed, so we'll skip past that. Okay, so now we're looking at 37. This is the last one, guys. Let's see what we're doing here. Okay, nothing. Okay, the part I talked about, where usually somewhere in your shipment here you'll get a part that you're just holding on to the next one. And in this case, it's this really nice metal piece, which is the forward chassis pan. Okay, so that makes sense that would be really sturdy. And that's going to be it for this one, you guys. We made it to the end. We're just going to have to make sure we, I'll kind of bundle up these wires and put it back in its little storage box until a couple of weeks when we get another part shipment in. And we'll come back and do some more. So let's go back and take a look at what we did. Hopefully we'll get to a point pretty soon where we're not turning our interior part upside down over and over anymore, but looks like we're getting pretty close. We got the dash put in, we got our steering working, we made sure we did that little double check there I talked about on a rack. Remember that part, guys? When you center your steering wheel, make sure it's centered on the rack so you have an even amount of wheel, movement from each side, and that way your steering tires up in the front will be nice and centered. That's really the only thing that I can see that was much of a fuss in this one. So there you have it, guys. Beautiful. I love how this is coming together. And again, check in the description below so you can find your link to order one of these kits and the promotional code there to save you a little bit of money. Thanks for watching, you guys. Take care. We'll be back soon with another update on this and some other models coming a little bit later this week. See you then. Happy modeling, everyone.